Hello and welcome to Business News Weekly from Business News Wales. I am your host, Connor Simmons. Coming up on the show this week, what are habitual entrepreneurs and what are they bringing to the Welsh economy? Jason Thomas, Commercial Director at Teddington Engineering Solutions, talks to us about his firm's record exports. I spoke to Nikki James of Barclays Eagle Labs to find out how they're helping bring businesses together. Chris McColgan is finding out about Cobots and how they're helping the manufacturing industry grow. And we have Cheryl Gourlay from Natwest in our studio talking about how they're supporting women in business. And of course, we'll be talking about this week's business events. All that and more coming up. But first, there's just over a week to go until around 120 women who run their own businesses will gather in Cardiff for the It's About Time Summit on International Women's Day. Cheryl Gourlay from Natwest is in to talk to us about the kind of support women in business could use when starting out.
Natwest is on a mission to do things differently, to make it easier for females to start and run a business. And through the collaboration between my colleagues, Gemma colleagues, our business growth enabler in Cardiff, and other key partners, they realised through conversations they were having, It's About Time and Biz Mums came about.
And it's very interesting in the sense that you're bringing together a group of women who are mums as well.
Absolutely. So the event is for women to network, collaborate and learn from each other. We've got 120 people signed up, confirmed, and a waiting list of over 40 people. So there's clearly a demand to be doing events like this to help women, to talk to like-minded individuals, give them the tools and the resources they need to help them take their business to the next level.
So there's clearly a lot of interest in the event. Does that mean there's a lot of women starting businesses, or is that something that needs addressing as well?
So it's both, really. So if we look at some of the research that's been done lately, Wales for female entrepreneurships is behind the UK, and there's clearly a need for us to be able to support and encourage women to take their first steps. The biggest barrier sometimes is confidence, and women just need someone to say, actually, it's okay to start your own business and take that first step.
So is the funding there to support women in business?
When women first set up in business, it's not necessarily about the funding, it's about the other things that they need. Women tend to lack self-confidence and they just need someone to help them, to signpost them into the right direction. So the things that women need access to are, access to role models, access to skills and access to other like-minded individuals that can help them.
March 8th is International Women's Day, as you know. Natwest is one of the only banks that employs specialists to help women in business. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, that's right. So I'm a Women in Business specialist. I've been involved with the Women in Business programme since 2013. And what we have done, we've launched a dedicated programme for our staff to go through training, which is endorsed by Chartered Banker and certified by every woman. And that training gives our staff the skills and knowledge that they need to understand female buying behaviours, confidence, and the other challenges that women come across. So we have 500 accredited specialists across the UK, both male and females, and in Wales we have 14 accredited women in business specialists.
So tell us a bit about what's happening on the day itself.
On the day, it's a full packed agenda. We have some nice icebreakers to get everyone in the mood to obviously feel energised and ready to come out of their comfort zone to talk to others and share their challenges. We have some keynote speakers sharing their journeys on women in business, how they set up their business and the barriers they've had to overcome. We have roundtable discussions being facilitated by chairs of different businesses. So those discussions will be based on the themes that have come out of recent research. So a few weeks ago, Welsh Government launched a framework into female entrepreneurship. So there'll be discussions in regards to that.
And finally, Cheryl, for the women who are listening who are thinking, yeah, actually, I would like to start a business, what's your best advice for them?
So my best bit of advice you can do it. You put those barriers in your way, you just need to smash through them. There's lots of different business supports out there. We have a team here on the ground that can certainly help females set up in business. We have our Natwest Accelerator programme, which will be able to help those looking to take their first step. But, you need to put yourself forward and you won't regret it when you do that.
What is a habitual entrepreneur? You've probably heard the term used before. Who are these enigmatic individuals and what are they bringing to the Welsh economy? We spoke to Professor Dylan Jones-Evans of the University of South Wales to find out more.
Well, when we tend to think about entrepreneurship, we tend to think about people leaving their jobs or leaving university and starting a business for the first time. But what we tend to forget is that there are people who have actually been there and done it previously, and we actually describe these in academic terms as habitual entrepreneurs. And they're people who have essentially done it before, they want to do it again. And there are two main types. So, there are those who will basically close or sell on the business they've developed and then go and start up another one. Steve Jobs was a perfect example of that. And then you've got those who are known as portfolio entrepreneurs, who run a number of businesses at the same time. And obviously the most famous example is that of Richard Branson, who runs a whole range of Virgin-type businesses to do that.
Fantastic. And what sort of impact do these entrepreneurs have on the economy?
Well, what's interesting, we did some research on this a few years ago, looking at the differences between the two, between those people who start for the first time and those people who are going back to do it again. And what's fascinating is that they make up a very small proportion of the population in the UK, less than 1%, but actually are responsible for around 33%, about a third of all the startups in the UK. And the other thing we find is because those who have done it before are attracted to it, we find that those with that previous entrepreneurial experience are 3 times more likely to start a business than those who clearly haven't done it before. So they are an important part of the entrepreneurial landscape. And I think what's really important in terms of that is that we don't really have any specific policies at a UK or a Welsh government level to actually encourage greater participation of those people who have, as I said, been there and done it in terms of starting a business.
And what sort of personality traits can you expect to see in a habitual entrepreneur? What goes into making one?
Well, what you tend to find is that if you've been successful at managing and developing a business, what tends to happen is they tend to fall into 2 camps. They may become business angels, i.e., these investors who invest informally in other entrepreneurial businesses, or they may wish to go off and do it again or start other businesses while starting their own business. And I think that's what the most important element of that, I think, is that they're the sort of people that are finding it probably easier to access external finance because of their previous success record and their network better. And they usually set up businesses that are usually allied to each other in terms of either those serial entrepreneurs who start up another business once they've sold their original business, usually in the same area, or what you find with portfolio entrepreneurs, they find that many of the businesses they start actually complement each other.
A Welsh engineering business that supplied parts that helped keep the RAF Spitfires flying during World War II has achieved record-breaking export sales after expanding into new international markets. We spoke to Jason Thomas at Teddington Solutions to find out more.
Teddington Engineering Solutions, we're based in Llanelli in South Wales, and we are good old-fashioned manufacturing company, been around since the 1920s. And what we do is we manufacture expansion joints for pipework. In simple terms, they're used to compensate movement within pipework.
What have you noticed about your export rates over the last couple of years?
Yeah, exports have certainly grown probably over the last 5 years. Certainly we've seen a large increase in exports in the last 2 to 3 years, largely down to a lot of assistance we've received from the likes of the Welsh Government with their facilities for the use of the likes of trade missions and exhibitions. And what that's allowed us to do really is to accelerate our exports and our business overseas.
So what does this mean going forward for yourselves and for Wales more generally?
Okay, so I think for us moving forward, first of all, we can't really take our foot off the pedal. I will be continuing to utilise the facilities that are available to me through the Welsh Government. In fact, I'm on the way to the Middle East this weekend to look to secure further deals in that region. And then in 2 weeks' time, I head to China to also look at securing further deals within the Chinese LNG ship building industry.
Do you think this sort of increase is something that we're going to see across Wales?
Seeing an increase across Wales, it really comes down to what you actually, what your product is. And, we're very fortunate that our product is quite specialised, and we tend to target markets that just don't have that expertise, and it seems to be a way we do business, and it's been very successful for us over the last sort of 5 or 6 years. So I guess, will we see an increase in Welsh exports? I'm hoping that companies will look at the likes of Teddington and think, well, if they can do it, so can we.
We hear a lot about automation in manufacturing these days, and not all of it is positive. But is there a way for humans and robots to collaborate going forward? Our very own Chris McColgan spoke to a firm here in Wales that thinks they can.
Today I'm talking to the Director of Rico Automation, Llewellyn Rees.
Hi there, Chris.
Just for a bit of background for our listeners, can you tell us more what cobot and collaborative robots means?
In the late 70s, industrial robots were introduced into the automotive industry initially in America. Then in the 80s, they come into the UK, again in the automotive industry. And then these industrial robots settle down into all manner of industries, basically. Now, industrial robots are not intended to be used with operators. They're all guarded off, so they take quite a big footprint of the factory floor. Then when Cobots, it was a Danish company that developed the idea that maybe we could have a safe working robot that would work effectively with a human, because a lot of tasks that are carried out in factories are certainly repetitive, but they're in a very small, tight workspace. And sometimes it's needed that the operator is in that tight workspace. So the term cobot is a phrase to basically explain that it's a human and a robot are working together. And in the majority of the cases of the systems we install, the human is in very close proximity to the robot, or cobot as we call them, in the same working area.
You mentioned there was a snowball success for the company. What impact has that had for you at Rico Automation? We're
growing rapidly. It's been nice for us in a way that we've kind of settled in with some big name companies such as Rolls-Royce and BMW. And because of that, the references we've set down and the applications we've completed with these companies, when we are approached by other companies, our references that we have now to date are certainly helping in the implementation of the cobots to new companies. We are growing, and we are at the moment we're looking for a new facility because the growth is quite huge. If I'm honest, we're constantly getting inquiries from throughout the UK now on a weekly basis of companies, various different companies, different industries to implement these cobots. And we've kind of got pride, really. We're a small business in mid Wales, and to be now seen as like the leading integrator in the UK for these cobots is great for Wales. It's great for technology. We want to set out that we are this company in mid Wales that is the new Industry 4 technology company that we want this success to grow globally.
No business can succeed without help. Fortunately, there are a number of programs out there to give growing companies the support and insight they might need to succeed. One such initiative, pioneered by Barclays, has seen a number of success stories. I spoke to Nikki James of Eagle Labs to find out more.
So Eagle Labs is a nationwide network of business incubators. We're based all over the United Kingdom. Our role is to support high growth businesses in our ecosystems.
So what sort of success stories have come out from Eagle Labs?
Yes, so one of our first residents was a company called SureChill. They're still with us at the moment. Through Barclays networks, we've been able to introduce them to key people to be able to support their business. As a bank, as you can imagine, we have large corporate companies that bank with us, and we're able to sort of leverage those connections to support the companies. So SureChill were a great example, really. They actually won our Innovation Award, which has given them a great platform to build and grow. I'm sure that'll be a company that, especially in Cardiff, people will want to watch. We've got another example of a great young entrepreneur, Toby, who works for a company called Artemis. He's the founder of an AI company. And we've got a fantastic event again next week, working with our partners, SNet and Barclays Corporate, where Toby is going to present to Barclays corporate clients and manufacturing clients to discuss the importance of artificial intelligence and to explore, where these companies are in that journey with Industry 4.0 technologies. So, yeah, there's been some quite exciting things, and that's all in our first year.
Amazing. And what's the hope going forward? What are you looking to achieve with Eagle Labs?
Just to support and grow the economy here in South Wales from my perspective, but as a business, as a wider Barclays venture, we're looking to do that all over the UK. There's now 22 labs, and each of those labs have a partner. So we're privileged to have Legal & General here in Cardiff. But some of our other partners, we've got some really exciting partners such as Cambridge Judge Business School, the Law Society, Cobots up in Edinburgh. And through the use of all these partners, we can really add value to not only our clients, but to the wider ecosystem in which we're serving.
This coming Tuesday, Eagle Labs is hosting Tech Tuesdays in partnership with Innovation Point. I spoke to Aisling Brown about the initiative.
I'm Aisling, and I work for Innovation Point, which is a company set up by the Welsh Government to support and connect companies, academia, government and investors. So Digital Tuesday was set up in 2014, and it's basically expert-led sessions. So the topics range for things like IoT all the way to kind of niche topics like tech ethics. So the topic on Tuesday is fintech, which is really exciting, and it's been hosted in Barclays Eagle Labs. And I think that's quite a fitting venue, since it's one of the drivers of tech and innovation in Wales. And we have Richard Theo, who's the CEO and co-founder of Wealthify, headlining the event, and he's going to chat about the fintech sector in general, his experience and the opportunity it brings to Wales. There's some really exciting things with that.
And you can find out more about Tech Tuesdays and Eagle Labs at www.labs.uk.barclays. In today's world, ensuring success in business whilst maintaining your well-being is no easy feat. Sometimes the right advice can mean the difference between success and complete burnout. David Davis is a senior businessman who has established the Hubbub Advisory to assist businesses in just that. I spoke to David himself to find out more.
My background is I spent 25 years practicing law and then left the law to go into the world of commerce, and particularly packaging, where I worked for 22 years. I left that as a consequence of some fairly serious burnout issues and mental health issues. And then after that, I went back to university, did a degree in psychotherapy, then joined the social enterprise called Goval Enterprises, which is owned by Goval, Welsh mental health charity. I worked with them, became their chair, then became a trustee of the charity, and I'm now the chair of the charity. And I've just set up a new business called Hubbub. I knew that for some majority of my adult life that I had something wrong with me with regard to my mental health. I just went, it got worse and worse and worse, and the gaps between the episodes of constant obsessive thinking. My burnout was driven by the fact that in my last sort of big job when I was, which was one of the 3 shareholder directors of a company called Spear, international packaging company. And I travelled around the world, and I was responsible for business development around the world, as well as intellectual property. And in 2009, I just burnt out. And got to a point where I couldn't speak, couldn't talk, couldn't eat, couldn't drink, couldn't sleep. And I ended up in the Priory, having tried to kill myself twice. And after a month in the Priory, I left worse than I went in. And I was diagnosed with OCD and fairly, what's the word? It wasn't mild CD, it was very severe. And so I had to start a new life.
So where does Hubbub fit into that?
So Hubbub, a good friend of mine who I've worked with on and off for about 30 years, mainly off, he said, the thing is with you, every time you come into a business situation, you create chaos, and then out of the chaos, you actually create some strategy and some direction. And that's where the word Hubbub comes from. So the idea is helping people, and currently I'm working with the 3 or 4 different companies, very small companies, in most cases social enterprises, but not totally, helping them achieve whatever dreams they've got for their business world. And I think what I wanted to differentiate with Hubbub was, the classic case where you have an investment from an investor and the company hits cash flow issues. And the first thing they do is say, you've got to get a consultant in. So the consultant comes in and he says, yeah, I can do it, but it's going to cost you £3,000. And because you've got cash flow issues, I want the money up front. So that's hardly a solution to my cash flow issue, because immediately he's causing another £3,000 of cash flow issue. What I would rather do is sit down, work with someone, listen to them, see if I can help, if they want me to help, agree a plan, agree what would be a solution, charge accordingly, and get paid when the results are delivered. Because primarily my interest is helping businesses grow, and that's what I've done all my life.
So what do you hope that Hubbub can bring to businesses?
Well, when we set up Kinninilk, it was my idea that the holding company, which is called Two Fat Men Limited, would set aside 10% of its profits to invest into local entrepreneurs where they've been either refused help elsewhere or just didn't know where to look. I guess with Hubbub, what I'm trying to do is offer some meaningful help that is not going to cost the individual or the business a fortune, but is going to be honest and genuine and full of integrity. And to be honest, if I don't want to deal with that particular company for whatever reason, I will say that. So I only want to work with people I want to work with. And also, I wouldn't take on a piece of work where I generally didn't think that I could add some value. And I think that for me is the differentiation. And I'm not accusing all consultants or advisories that they just do it for the money, but primarily my interest is the excitement around the opportunity and being part of it and adding value to it.
To find out more about Hubbub and to see if they can help your business grow, visit them at hubbubadvisory.co.uk. Well, that's all we've got time for this week. We'll be back next time with more of the highlights from the Welsh business community. Till then, you can always find out more at www.businessnewswales.com. Thanks for listening.